Welcome to today's session where we dive into the art of connecting sentences naturally in English. It's like, creating bridges between your ideas to make your conversations flow, right? Absolutely. It's all about turning a bunch of choppy statements into a smooth, seamless dialogue. Yep, that flow really matters. Exactly. You know, sometimes learners can say, I go to work. I eat lunch, I go home. And although that's correct, it ends up feeling, well, a little robotic and disjointed, without any natural connection. Right. And the simple connectors like and, but, because, and so are the unsung heroes here. They really help transform basic statements into a cohesive narrative. Yep. And the beauty of it is that these words not only join ideas, they add feelings, contrast, reasons. They bring personality to your speech. For example, saying, I was tired but I went to work, actually shows contrast and emotion. True, and that contrast is essential. It changes a flat statement into something that sounds real and human. And listeners, you can feel that tension or surprise when but is used correctly. Exactly. And it's interesting how such tiny words can alter the entire rhythm of our speech. Like when we say, I stayed home because I felt sick, versus, I stayed home, I felt sick. The first one gives a clear reason and ties the ideas together smoothly. Yeah, and I've noticed that when we use these connectors properly, the sentences start to tell a story. It's like you're inviting the listener into your experience rather than just listing events. Right, and it's like once you learn to connect your ideas, your English becomes less about perfect grammar and more about natural communication. And that's so important in real conversations. I totally agree. But you know, one might argue that sometimes sticking to shorter, simpler sentences is more clear. Do you think there's ever a downside to connecting too many ideas in one go? That's a fair point. I think balance is key. If you overdo it, like piling on too many connectors, you know, like and, it can get overwhelming. But used appropriately, they add richness. It's like seasoning in cooking. A little goes a long way. I like that analogy. It's like you don't want to oversalt your dish, or your story loses its flavor. Each connector should serve a purpose. Exactly. And speaking of purpose, these words also help us arrange our thoughts in a logical sequence. For example, when we say, I finished work, then I met my friend for dinner, it clearly shows the order of events. Right. It's all about time connectors, like then, after, or when. They ground our ideas in time, so your listener can follow the timeline effortlessly. And let's not forget the power of because. It tells your listener the why behind your actions. I stayed home because I was tired. Not only states a fact, but explains it, bridging the gap between your actions and your emotions. True. And what's great is that these connectors work for both positive and negative sentences. Like, I didn't study, so I failed the test. The reason behind the result is made soundly clear. Yes, it's all about clarity and natural flow. And, interestingly enough, even in negative contexts, these connectors serve to make the sentence more relatable and impactful. That's a really crucial point. When you're speaking, if your intent is clear, then even your mistakes or short sentences become part of a natural rhythm. And practice is what makes that rhythm smoother. Absolutely. When I first learned English, I remember saying, I wake up, I eat breakfast, I go to work. It felt so mechanical, but once I started connecting them, I wake up, then I eat breakfast, and after that I go to work. It felt like I was telling my own story. Yeah, that personal shift is so important, and it's interesting how even native speakers sometimes fall into patterns of speaking too quickly without proper pauses. It's all about rhythm and balance. Exactly. And the use of pauses plays a huge role here. Pausing gives your listener a moment to absorb each part of your sentence. It's like giving your brain a break so it can really eat in what you're saying. Right. And those little breaks make all the difference. They allow the connectors to shine without overwhelming the listener with a rush of information. For sure. Now, consider the word so. Using so shows a result. I was cold, so I closed the window. It builds a cause and effect relationship in a very natural, conversational way. Yep, and it's such a common word in everyday language. Sometimes it's easy to overlook, but its proper use can make your English sound much more spontaneous and fluent. And then we also have but, which introduces contrast. Like when you say, I wanted to exercise, but it started raining. It adds that layer of reality, of conflicting forces in our day-to-day lives. Right, and that contrast is what makes our stories interesting. Instead of a simple list of facts, you're sharing a little narrative with ups and downs. Exactly. And another neat trick is when you mix connectors in one sentence to layer multiple ideas. Like, I was hungry, so I cooked dinner and then I cleaned up. It's a way of showing sequence and cause all at once. Yeah, it's like weaving different threads into one tapestry of ideas. But I sometimes wonder, don't you think it might get, too busy if you're not careful? That's a valid concern. It can become, overcomplicated if you cram too many details in one sentence. Remember, natural flow should feel comfortable, and not like you're reading a long-winded script. Exactly. And a friendly reminder, it's totally okay to use multiple short sentences sometimes, as long as they're connected well through context and appropriate pauses. That's so true. It's like, if you try to force every sentence to be long and connected, you might lose the charm of natural speech. Sometimes a single, clear idea is best delivered on its own. Right. Like when you're telling a quick tale about your day, you might say, I woke up late, I missed my bus, and then, but I still made it to a great meeting. It has its own rhythm. Exactly. And that flexibility is what makes understanding connectors valuable. You choose them based on the context. And by practicing these, you can build confidence in your own unique speaking style. Absolutely. And sometimes we all feel pressured to speak perfectly, but in reality, the goal is communication. Even native speakers tweak their sentences with fillers and pauses. Right. And the journey to natural communication is all about trial and error. Mistakes, like overusing and, are just stepping stones. For example, instead of saying, I woke up and I ate and I worked and I rested, it's smoother to mix it up. I woke up, ate breakfast, worked for a bit, and then rested. That's a great point. In fact, I sometimes challenge myself to be more deliberate about these connectors. And honestly, it's amazing how small changes can make your speech sound warmer and more relatable. Exactly. And another cool trick is practicing with real-life examples. It helps your brain switch from thinking in isolated sentences to creating a narrative flow. I mean, try this. I forgot my umbrella, so I got wet. Versus, I forgot my umbrella, I got wet. The first paints a complete picture immediately. Yes, and that immediate shift in tone really makes a difference in how your message is received. It's like giving your listener a taste of your mood or your energy, which makes your conversation more engaging. And as we keep practicing, you'll find that natural connectors eventually become second nature. They help build bridges not just between sentences, but between your thoughts and your listeners. Absolutely. So to everyone listening, keep experimenting with connectors, embrace your little mistakes, and soon enough, your English will flow as naturally as you do in thought. Thanks for hanging out and exploring these insights with me today. Thank you, and remember, keep practicing, keep connecting, and your English will sound as comfortable as having a friendly chat over coffee. See you next time.